Good morning, folks. Lenny Solomon, welcome, dude. How you doing, man? Is this your first Meerkat experience? Sharona, welcome. I'm actually in Nestiona right now, meeting Move It. Move It is one of the fastest growing Israeli startups, one of the most exciting Israeli startups. I guess you can call them ways for public transportation. So I'm meeting the VP product and CEO this morning. I'm actually going to be meerkatting an interview with them, so that should be really interesting. But I am in Nestiona right now, and I've got here early so that I can do this. And hey, get done. What's cooking, man? So that I can do this with a good internet connection and not go in and out. But I will have to cut it short. So let's say it's 8:30 a.m. here in Israel, and I'm gonna probably continue till 8:50, 8:55, and then I'm gonna run to Move It. Maybe you'll walk me to the office. But anyway, let's see who's here before we get started. It's weird. Sometimes I schedule and like 100 people jump in. Sometimes less people jump in. I don't really know how that works. Welcome. Is that Robert? No, Rodert. Charlie? Anyway, Sterling Jordan. Hey there. Yo. I'm gonna really try to get to the point here and talk a little bit about press, specifically Nestiona. Watch your head. Yeah, not funny. Specifically about tech press and just PR in the traditional sense and how it's changing. So let me just start off by saying a pet peeve, completely unrelated to the topic here. A good friend of mine, Jeff Goldberg, who's I think number 6 on the leaderboard here on Meerkat, posted yesterday the leaderboard. It makes me really sad who number 1 is, and I don't know her. She could be a very nice person, but going on Meerkat dressed inappropriately to try to get more followers is nothing new, obviously, on the internet, but it does make me sad that this is what people fall for. And I always expect maybe for her to do something actually substantial, but no, it's always the same junk, and she's just not dressed very nicely. So it's kind of upsetting to me, and I would love to see the Meerkat community kind of rise above that and give credit to people that do. And I'm not talking about myself, if that's what you thought for a second. I'm talking about Jeff and other people that do amazing things on Meerkat. They should get much more attention from Meerkat, from the community, than some woman doing, standing there, whatever. That's just me talking. And again, I hope I didn't, as always, that doesn't offend anyone, but it just does upset me on a personal level. Meerkat stream still has some connection issues. Are you on Android? Yeah, I don't know. People say on Android there's some issues. I don't know. But anyway, let's just get to the point here. Let me just start off by saying many of my friends are PR agencies or PR professionals, and by no means am I trying to imply that PR is dead. Let me just start off by that. I will, however, say that for those PR agencies that all they do is have relationships with TechCrunch and Mashable and the Next Web and whatever it is, and all they do literally is just email their friends saying, please write about this startup, and there are unfortunately too many like that, those things are dead. Those things are irrelevant and useless, and anybody that hires something like that, an agency that does that, is wasting money, and a startup that hires something like that is wasting money and actually causing them self-damage, and I'll tell you why. In my case, I do wear 2 different hats, the opposite hats. I'm a blogger myself, so I get pitches and PR and press releases all the time. On the other hand, I'm also, I do marketing, so I also send out some press releases. So I can tell you from both ends that both ends, when I get a pitch from the startup, from the entrepreneur himself, as opposed to his PR agency or her PR agency, it is 1,000 times more effective, right? Getting the pitch, telling me the story in a friendly manner, in a human manner, and not a template, dear blogger or dear colleague or dear whatever the hell people write on LinkedIn. It drives me crazy. But in a personal manner, actually personalized email saying, we're launching this company, I've been following you or whatever it is. I would love your thoughts. Something like that goes a very, very long way. And there's really no reason that you should not be able to do that. Having said that, there are PR agencies that are super professional that will actually help you kind of frame the story, tell the story, write the press release, the right way to reach out, not no double pitching. And there are rules here, kind of quote unquote rules of how to pitch the press. And there are PR agencies and professionals, many in Israel, that do that and are very, very professional. And for you to do that would not be easy as an entrepreneur. And for them, I would say in many cases they are worth the investment. But again, a PR agency that all they do is just send their friends an email saying please write about them is not something that you as an entrepreneur or as a startup should be spending money on. So how do you do this? Assuming for 1 second, again, we're not talking about if you want to hire a PR agency and you have the resources and you know of a PR agency that's professional and really knows their stuff, by all means hire them. But basics, yes, basics. Connection issues. This is live. This is live. Uri, please no. Is that Apple Watch? No, this is the Pebble. You have to tap a few times to connect. Sorry to hear about that. I hope it gets stabilizes. Anyway, so putting aside those professional PR agencies, and there are quite a few of them in Israel and abroad, by the way, in many places in the world, there are very serious PR agencies that are absolutely worth the investment. I'm putting that aside for 1 second. I will tell you in an ideal world what you should do as an entrepreneur. What you should do is as follows. I'm not even going to talk about the product, because at the end of the day, no matter what you do and on the PR side, if you don't have a good product, you don't have a good story, then it's just not going to get anywhere, with very few exceptions. Sometimes a bad story can be so bad that it gets good coverage, and I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure we can all think of stupid apps that got a lot of coverage, but I'm not talking about that now. Build a product, tell your story in an effective way, and an engaging way, and an interesting way, and this is what you should do. In the 2 words that I think you can sum it up, and I really genuinely believe that these 2 words sum up pretty much 98% of marketing, honestly. The tools of marketing, the platforms, you can learn. What you cannot learn is if you don't have this in you, these 2 words, then you're in trouble. And that is be human, okay? Here's something that I learned over the years. TechCrunch writers, for example, or any journalists, their job is to write good stories, right? That's what they get paid to do. So they need good content. If you pitch them a good story, they're not doing you a favor when they write about you. You're doing them a favor as much as they're doing you a favor. And I can tell you that for many years, or for a long time in the beginning, when I would start, pitching the press, and I would always say, oh, thank you so much. They'd be like, thank you. And I'd be like, I never understood that. Like, why are they thanking me? But then it hit me. I'm doing them a favor like they're doing me a favor. I'm giving them food. I'm giving them content that they can then, use to do their job better. At the end of the day, that's what they're there to do. That's their job. So they're not doing you a favor. You have to understand that. What you need to do, though, is you need to reach out to these journalists in a human way. Share good practices. Good morning, Hillel. Good morning, Liat. How you doing? Liat's from 24Me, and Liat is a perfect example. I'm going to give her real props right now, and I mean this genuinely. Liat is 24Me. It's a like a productivity app, and they're always releasing new stuff. They just released on the Apple Watch. They're doing some cool things. She sent me yesterday. Really cool company. She didn't hire a PR agency. She did it herself, right? She's taking complete PR under her control, and she's reaching out, she's building relationships, and she's leveraging the connections that she has. I hope I've helped her in the past. I hope to continue to help her, but that's a perfect example of an entrepreneur that is busy building a product, building a company, and still finds the time to do PR the right way. And they've got quite a nice amount of coverage from the tech press, and she did it all herself. Listen to what Hillel is saying, gold. Thank you, Liat. Well, besides, of course, the fact that I'm giving you props, you didn't mean that, but yeah, I appreciate that. No, but really, I mean, Liat is a perfect example, and follow 24Me, download 24Me, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But let's just talk for 1 second about what you really need to do. And it starts with 1 word, Twitter. To be honest with you, there are other platforms, and other platforms are great. Every platform has its advantages. Facebook's great for what it is. Google Plus is great for what it is. Twitter is by far your home for building relationships, okay? Get on Twitter. And here's a piece of gold that is exclusive to the people watching here. Are you sitting down? Here's a scoop for you guys. It's public, but no one knows about it. Are you ready? You're sitting down? I have a Twitter list, okay, that is open called Elite Tech Press. I think there are 450 tech journalists on that list. Follow the hell out of that list. Follow the list. Add that list as a column in your tweet deck, and just follow those people, okay? Now, don't pitch them. Do not pitch them. Do not jump in and say, whatever, Josh Topolsky or, Dara Etherington, don't, write about my product. Do not do that. That is the worst thing you can do. Follow those people. Build a relationship with those people like you would do in real life. Be human. Follow them. Somebody asked what to wear, what color shirt to wear. Answer him. What to have for lunch. Answer him. He talks about, is there a bubble? Give your opinion. Build a relationship with them so that they start recognizing you, your name, your avatar, your profile picture, who you are. Your name enters their consciousness, right? Why does Toshiba pay so much money to have their little logo this big on the ball in Times Square on New Year's Eve? Because they want to enter your consciousness. They want to be implanted on your brain. Get implanted on their brains. Not as a spammer, not as a salesman. No one likes salesmen. Build those relationships long term. Okay, and I'll give you an example. Years and years and years ago, and 2 jobs ago, I was working at a company that we were getting some nice press, but VentureBeat was one of the sites that I love, and I still love, and I write for, that never wrote about us. And I literally sat with my CEO, and we're like, okay, we're going to target VentureBeat. I sat down, I put together a list of the VentureBeat writers, I started quote unquote targeting them, and that sounds like a mean thing. I don't mean it in a mean way. I literally followed them on Twitter, started engaging, started talking, started building a relationship with these people that they know. This guy Hillel Full, this is his picture, this is his bio, this is who he is. He's not a salesman. He's just a good guy. He's just a nice guy. After whatever amount of time it was, not a month, right? 3 months, let's say for argument's sake, that you're talking to this person and you're engaging, and they already recognize you and value your opinion, then say as a friend, listen, I'm also an entrepreneur, which you should know by now, by the way. And I am working on something that I would really love to tell you about. That's it. On a friendly, human level. Not, please download my app, we're the greatest. I'm telling you, every day, every freaking day on Twitter, I get startups tweeting me, download my app, we're the greatest. Do this, we're the greatest. Retweet me, follow me on Facebook. It's like, dude, stop. I don't need to say this again. Twitter is not a sales platform. Build relationships with journalists. It is their job to write about good content. They are human beings. Everyone likes nice people. Be a nice person. Be friendly. I know this sounds completely idiotic and it's like, duh. But unfortunately, this is not what majority of startups do. And again, for those that weren't here in the beginning, I'm not saying not to hire a PR agency. If you can afford a PR agency and you know someone that's professional that can actually frame the story for you, write the press release, do the outreach, and get really quality coverage from the tech press, then by all means. But I'm putting that aside for one second because I think, at the risk of offending some people, the ideal world is that every entrepreneur do their PR by themselves. And in today's world, you can do that. Maybe once upon a time you couldn't do that, but today with Twitter, you can do competitive analysis in real time. Use Twitter as a search platform. You can do PR in real time. You can do even investor relations. Again, I wouldn't say pitch, right? Mark Andreessen, he says, don't pitch me on Twitter, but you can build a relationship with him on Twitter, right? And then when the time comes that you do pitch him, whoever it is you're pitching, and he knows you from Twitter, it's a different ball game. I always compare it to basketball and alley-oop, right? You're alley-ooping when you're doing marketing for your startup and you're writing content, you're elevating your brand, comes along the sales and dunks it, right? That's what I compare it to. All you got to do is elevate your brand so that when the user acquisition or the ads or the sales or whatever it is, however you're acquiring customers, comes along, it's a different ball game because I've been following your blog, I've been following you on Twitter, I know you, we're friends. Now when I see your ad on Facebook, it's like, oh, I know that app, I'm going to download it, I'm going to keep it on my phone, and the retention will also increase because it's branding. So use Twitter, build those relationships out with journalists, follow that list, guys. I'm telling you, it's gold. It's called Elite Tech Press. It's under my name on Twitter. It's an open Twitter list. Okay, it has some people following it. I use it constantly. Again, rarely will you see me ever pitching the press on Twitter. But those people on that list all know me, right? They know me because I've built a relationship with them over many, many years. And that's something that literally took me 7 years to build. So I'm giving it to you right now. I'm not, asking you for anything in return. Please, by all means, use it. I think if we all use these tactics and are more subtle in our marketing and PR, it will be a better Twitter. It will be a better world. It will be a better ecosystem. It will be a better everyone. So it's a win-win, and that's why I'm happy to give it to you for free. It was a blocked list for a very long time. It was private, and I didn't give it to anyone. But I opened it and I said, you know what? Let everyone use it. I agree. We can do so many things on our own these days. Thanks for saying it like it is. Thank you, Melanie. Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate it. So anyway, bottom line is follow that list. Engage with those journalists. Talk to them. Not necessarily about yourself. Almost never about yourself. There's that pitch. When you go in for that pitch, or as Gary says, don't be a teenager and try to close on the first date. Build out that relationship, and at the end of the day, once you feel like that relationship is real, and I'm not saying to build a relationship in order to pitch. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying, right? Don't be fake. Be real. Be authentic. If you care about that person, they'll care about you back, and then the pitching process at the end of the day of getting press will be that much easier. I'm telling you, and don't be transparent either. Don't be like, oh hey, Josh, how you doing this morning? Like, don't do that. I'm not gonna use a profanity here, but don't start kissing up because they're these are generally smart people and they understand what you're trying to do. Be real, authentic, human. Be human. Those are the 2 words. Be human on Twitter with whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, whether it's investors or PR, everyone else. Build those relationships. Now, here's the thing. Coin your story, right? You have to tell a story well, and I'll give you an example. A few years ago, a really cool startup reached out to me, and whatever it is, I'm not going to name names, and if you know what I'm talking about, please don't name them. This is my first Meerkat. I'm impressed. Thanks. Thank you, Jonathan Arad. So a startup with an amazing entrepreneur reaches out to me a few years ago, and he's like, we help organize your pictures, on your iPhone. We've made it metadata and location and whatever. He's like, I'm like, dude, stop. Just stop, right? I said to him, listen, turn your phone on right now. Like, pick up your iPhone. We were in a restaurant. I said, pick up your iPhone and open it. Hey there, Hillel. Hey there, Blake. Talk and see you who get with... I don't understand what that means. So I said to him, open your iPhone. He turns his iPhone on. I'm like, okay, now, what maps are you using? Are you using Google Maps or Apple Maps? He says, no, I'm using Waze. I said, okay, great. What calendar app are you using? And he said, okay, I'm using whatever calendar, Google Calendar or Sunrise or whatever calendar he was using. I said, excellent. What camera are you using? He said, Instagram. I said, excellent. We went through all the apps that Apple released, and he was basically using a replacement of every single app, right? An app that someone, third-party developer released that replaced the original Apple app, that Apple released with the phone. I said, okay, now, which gallery are you using? How are you viewing your pictures? And he said, oh, I'm using the Apple Gallery. I'm like, boom, you just replaced the Apple Gallery. This was years ago, right? Now there are already a lot of apps that do this. He was the first. He's like, mind blown. He's like, this is my story from now on. And he literally pitched the press from that day on as I am replacing the gallery that Apple released, which is primitive. And you look at your gallery, it's 500,000 pictures with no order, and it's a huge mess. He just fixed that. That's a story. Telling me that he's organizing my pictures based on metadata and location, and it's like, dude, who the hell are you talking to? That is not interesting. You're putting me to sleep, right? I met with someone yesterday. Not going to talk about what he does because, well, I guess I don't want to talk about what he does because it's stealth. Point is, I sat with him. He told me his story, and he was like, this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, dude, that scares me. Like, I hear that pitch, and I'm like, get me away from that app. I do not want to use that app. It's the last thing on planet Earth that I would ever use. But then I tried the app, and I saw I'm like, dude, that is the worst pitch I ever heard in my life. That is not what you're doing. Here's what you're doing. And I got a little philosophical. We talked a little bit about advertising, and again, can't talk about what he does because it's stealth. But literally within 5 minutes, he's like, holy crap, that didn't even occur to me. And it shouldn't occur to him because he's an entrepreneur. He's building a product. But you need to make sure that you frame your story well. Not only for the press, by the way, for yourself, right? You can't, whoever it is you're selling this to, whether it's business development or it's investors, whether it's press, you need to tell the story well. Your product is not even close to half the story because the person's not trying your product until they approach you in the bar, right? Bottom line is you can say inside counts more than, don't judge a book by its cover, but at the end of the day, no one's walking over to someone in a bar because of their personality, right? No one's trying your app unless you get them to try your app. Your story needs to get them to try your app. So you need to frame your story well. You need to tell it well. You need to write a press release, by the way, unless you have a really good relationship with the journalist, then reach out and be like, do you want a traditional press release, or could I just, could we jump on a Skype call? That also works if you have a good relationship. It also helps if you can be the story to current high profile. It also helps if you can tie your story to current high profile news. That's true, I agree. Too cool. The story is your aviators. Cool. Why are you not at work? I'm going to meet Move It right now. Talk and see you again. Hey there, hello. I'm going to meet Move It right now, by the way. Amazing company that's kind of like the Waze for, and I hate saying things like that, but it's like the Waze for public transportation. They raised so much money. It's ridiculous. Look them up. So I'm going to meet them this morning. I'm meeting the VP product and the CEO to do a Meerkat interview, which is really cool. But anyway, so frame your story, tell it well, make sure it's relevant. And by the way, don't forget, you need to tailor your story, because if one person you're talking to writes about big data, then focus on big data. If one person writes about consumer apps, then you're a consumer app. If one person talks about enterprise apps, maybe you have a B2B enterprise kind of angle. Know who you're talking to, know your audience. And that's true always about marketing. Very true about journalists, also true about investors, right? Some investors don't go near e-commerce. Don't pitch them on an e-commerce thing. Some investors don't go near big data. Some people don't go near enterprise. Some people don't go near non-business model. Some people go only to non-business model. Know who you're talking to, know your audience. That is really, really the bottom line. So with press, what city are you in? I am in Nestiona right now, where there were rockets very close last night. Fortunately, it looks like it's happening again, what we experienced last summer, but I'm not going near that. It's too early in the morning to talk about war. Hey, from Mexico, welcome. So anyway, my point is like this. Here are the steps, right? First and foremost, before you go to any press, before you do anything, know your story. Frame your story. Why is it interesting? Not what you do, but why you're doing it. And why is it interesting to anyone, right? What are you doing and why are you doing it? Tell the story. Maybe for an exercise, actually sum it up in a nice press release. Obviously, have an elevator pitch, have a little bit of a longer pitch, have an investor's deck. Those are topics for another time. But write a press release, and it's really not hard to write a press release. People are very, very intimidated by press releases. Literally, I kid you not, on my iPhone 6 Plus, it takes me exactly 4.5 minutes, and I kid you not. It's very, very simple, right? You have the format, right? The date, the name of the company, obviously a title. You can have a subtitle if you want. A paragraph telling what the story is, a quote from somebody, from an executive, saying why it's exciting, why it's interesting, whatever it is, a little bit about the company, and just a little background, a little maybe, and what the deal is. That's it. And then about the company at the end. It's super, super simple. So really, don't be intimidated by a press release. There are rules in terms of getting press. There's a whole embargo thing. I think journalists in general, I think we could all agree, don't like embargo. Don't say like, here's a story. We released an update 1.46 to our app, embargoed until Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Basically, it'll be like, okay, who the hell are you and why do I care? Like, I'm not going to respect your embargo. Forget it, right? There's always, giving someone an exclusive, if that's a good way to build a relationship. Say, listen, I'm releasing an app, I'm releasing whatever it is, I want to give this to you as an exclusive. I think generally, while we can debate whether that's childish or not childish, I think that the press also sometimes acts a little funny, but giving someone exclusive is definitely a good way to build a relationship. And you could always just send it out to a few journalists and say, this news is from Monday, and boom, finished, here's the story. And and you can reach out, be persistent, but not annoying, right? Again, be human. Let me read some of these comments. Most people don't know how to write a press release. It is not an advertisement. Call the press and they will tell you what they want and any specifications. I wrote press releases for 2 years. It's only hard the first few times. Tell a story. Fabricate? Absolutely not. Do not fabricate. Do not be an idiot. Do not blow things up and use buzzwords and use vanity metrics and say we have 100 million% increase in sneezes. Like, no one gives a crap. Talk about the real thing. No one's interested in fabrications. Definitely not. Sorry to hear. Hugs. We'll be praying for you guys. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate that. Anyway, so I definitely am not saying to fabricate. And do you write a press release and attach it? Do you write it in the email itself? It really depends on the journalist. If you need to learn what these journalists like, you can definitely feel free to ask. There's nothing wrong with asking a journalist, how do you want to get the information? And really, I think your goal should be, assuming you're somewhat of a charismatic and passionate individual, which you should be about what you're building, the best really is to jump on a call, right? You can get them on Skype or a call, but do not, for the love of God, pick up the phone and call a journalist without their permission. Like, literally the worst thing you could possibly do. And I'm telling you, when someone calls me, and seriously, this has happened to me many, many times, just calls me in the middle of the day. I don't even know where they got my number, but unfortunately, my number's out there somewhere. And I don't ask, whatever. Someone calls me in the middle of the day and says, we want you to write about us. And I'm like, what? Dude, what? Like, excuse me, the worst possible thing you can do. Reach out to a journalist that's very casual. You can, by all means, reach out on Twitter after you've built that relationship. Maybe DM if they're interested, whatever it is. Send them an email with some information. Say, what's the best way to give you more information? Are you comfortable with a quick call, 5-minute call, Skype, whatever it is? But ask them, right? At the end of the day, they have a million of these pitches every day. So ask them what their preference is, and just, be human and put yourself in their shoes. What would you want if you were getting 1,000 pitches a day? Would you want to get a phone call in the middle of the day? Someone that's obviously the worst way to do it. About Elite Tech Press. Yes, Elite Tech Press. Go into my Twitter. You are my human in Israel. Thanks for broadcasting. You're very welcome. What was the name of the tech list on Twitter? Elite Tech Press. Just Google my name with the words Elite Tech Press and you'll come across the Twitter list. I believe it's 450 journalists across the New York Times and TechCrunch and all of them. Really, I mean, every time I come across a new tech journalist, I just add them to the list, and it's a really useful tool, and I backed it up 1,000 times because God forbid if Twitter removes lists from their platform, that would be the end of that, so that would really suck. So definitely follow that list, and by all means use it. But again, don't use it to spam people. Use it to build relationships, to listen. You have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them in that ratio. I know I say that a lot, but I'll keep saying it because unfortunately people talk too much. They broadcast, they sell. Don't use Twitter as a sales platform. Use Twitter as a listening platform, as a relationships platform. Listen to these journalists. They're human beings. I don't mean listen to in terms of what they want to be pitched. I mean, just listen. Get to know these people. At the end of the day, you want something from someone, and again, to emphasize, they're not doing you a favor more than you're doing them a favor. But if you want something from someone, learn the person, get to know them, build a relationship, and then be, as a human being, be human. By all means, say to them, listen, I have a story I think would be interesting to you. Why would it be interesting to you? Let me tell you, someone yesterday, Seth from Mashable, tweeted, calling us like bad steak at Mitos. Yeah, that's true. Someone tweeted yesterday, Seth from Mashable tweeted that someone sent him a pitch naming all of his home addresses to emphasize that security and privacy on the internet is a problem, and they're solving it. Dude, come on, really? How would that make you feel? Would that make you feel like, oh, I want to write about this guy? No, that's scary and annoying and creepy. Don't do things like that. Think, use your brain. You have a brain for a reason. Use it, right? Be human. Do not be spammy. I cannot stand it anymore, how much spam there is on Twitter. It is not a spammy, it is not a spam platform. It's not a sales platform. Don't use it that way. I mean, honestly, I'm at the point that I just don't get it anymore, why people do that. I'm already starting to block. And, I feel bad. I called out a startup a few weeks ago, and they're like, oh, we're so sorry. We hired some outsourced company and they're spamming, and they fired them, and whatever. I don't think it's intentional. Most people don't mean bad, but someone tweeted me yesterday, can I have your phone number, please? And I looked at their tweets, and all they do is tweet over and over and over again to thousands of people. Can I have your phone number, please? Like, really? That's what we're doing? Like, that's how you use Twitter? I mean, come on, seriously. Bottom line is, guys, I'm going to move it in a few minutes. If you have any questions for me to ask the VP product and CEO of Move It, MOOVIT, if you want to Google them, tweet at me and let me know what you want me to ask them. They're a really amazing company. I'm going to talk to them about VC and about growth and about just penetrating other markets and how they did what they did, because it's really an amazing company. Thanks for the tips. So valuable. Building relationships. So important not to self-promote. Yes, Melanie, so important. I don't think you would be guilty of that. Little that I know you, I don't think you would ever do that. Excuse me. But unfortunately, too many people do. And the bottom line is, if you're a startup, by all means, you can do it yourself. Get on Twitter, start listening, building those relationships. A traditional PR company really just has the relationships that you can do yourself. You can build those yourself. No need to depend on a PR agency. That's the bottom line. There are PR agencies, and I'll say it again, that are super professional. They'll help you frame the story. They'll help you write the thing. I'm not talking about those. And those are in many cases, they're worth the investment. There are many, many like those. I'm talking about the PR companies that just basically just send an email to TechCrunch and charge you $5,000, $7,000 a month. It is not worth your money. It is not worth your time. You can do it yourself. And not only can you do it yourself, but when someone pitches me as an entrepreneur, the chances of me writing about that person are significantly higher than if their public relations company pitches me. And that, I can tell you, almost across the board is true for every journalist that I know. If you pitch them authentically, nicely, humanly, subtly, not aggressively and spammy, there's a very good chance to write about you. Much higher chance than if you hire some PR company to aggressively pitch and, do it in an obnoxious way. Ask them about the beginning. Always the most interesting, inspiring part. I will ask them about the beginning. Hey, Jeff. Wow, Jeff is here. Number 6 on the Meerkat leaderboard, man. This guy's a rock star. By press, you mean journalist. I thought you meant like TV, radio, press. I think that's true in that case, too. I mean, TV, radio, press, those things it's the same principles. Whether you're talking about bloggers or... Yesterday, I got followed by one of my favorite journalists. He's not a blogger. He writes for GQ. Anybody that follows me knows that I kind of like a little bit. I like fashion. I like suits, and I like whatever. So it's really cool he followed me. I've been reading his stuff religiously for a long time, and that's traditional press. I think many of my friends that I've built relationships with are on TV, and radio, and it's the same principles. Build relationships. Many of them are on Twitter, and the bottom line is build a relationship. There's no shortcuts. There are shortcuts to pay $7,000, $10,000 for a PR company that might get you decent results, might not. But if you do it yourself, you can get much better results, and that's the bottom line. Anyway, guys, let me give some. Let me look who's here. Wow. Oh man, yo, Jeff, this is like your numbers here, man. No, not really your numbers, but David Eaton, nice to meet you. Jonathan Quinn, thank you for coming in. I appreciate that. Let's see who else is here. Michael Crackman. Okay. Cannabis.com. Interesting. Mitch Schneider, what's cooking? Good looking? Mitch Schneider's a good friend, a serial entrepreneur, and works at a cool company that is basically Pied Piper, but in real life. I kid you not, can't make this stuff up. Let's see who else is here. I see some familiar faces here. Brian Yanish. Shari, how you doing? Shari's doing a very good job on this herself with building relationships. Julie, welcome. Yechia Berzan, indeed. How you doing, dude? From Chile. Wow. Hey, Chile. Welcome. We got Star Norman Sixpack. I don't know your real name, but welcome. Sherry, how you doing? Oh, wow, there's a lot of people here. Okay, so I can't go through everyone, but I really, honestly, genuinely appreciate you guys coming in. I'm not just saying that. But listen, bottom line is you're an entrepreneur. You're building something. Build something awesome. Frame your story. Tell it well. And just start building relationships. That's all there is to it, guys. It's really not magic. Hey, Itamar's here. Itamar's a good example. Crazy entrepreneur, building a freaking amazing company. Just, completely lean, minimal funding, and doing a great job getting insane amounts of press. So follow deeplink.me or ItamarW on Twitter. I'm just here for support from LA, California. Good morning, Yechia. All right, guys. Anyway, I have a meeting in 4 minutes at Move It, so I'm going to go. But tweet me some questions if you have any. My first Meerkat 2. Can you do a Meerkat 101 Meerkat or suggest a place to watch one? There's no 101. Be human. Be human. Get on. Talk to your friends. Whatever. What's wrong with selling? What's wrong with selling? I don't know what that means. If a startup is sending emails itself, what subject lines do you suggest? I don't know. You could, hey, an entrepreneur trying to reach out, an entrepreneur working hard and, would love to talk. Be human, guys. Just think about what would make you click through. It's a good question. I can send some examples later if you want to tweet me. Building an arc from Dallas as it's still raining here. Appreciate the info and passion. Thank you, dude. I find that promoting other people is immensely helpful to myself. If a startup is okay, good luck. Thanks, guys. I really got to run. 310 people. That is freaking insane. Thank you so much for coming in, and we will talk very soon because I'm going live with the VP Product and CEO of Move It, a very, very large company. So Google them and stay tuned. I'll be live in probably 10, 15 minutes. Thanks again. Thanks, Hill. Have a great day, my friend. You too. Thank you, Sherry. Julie, huge audience today. Thanks for our startup masterclass. Looking forward to the next one tomorrow. Thank you so much, Julie. You are a very loyal fan, and I really appreciate that, and I mean that genuinely. All right, gotta run, guys. Take care. Talk soon. Subject line for an email, I'll be human. Well, that's a good one. All right, we'll talk soon, guys.